Hey guys, what's going on? James here, and in this video today, we're going to be reviewing day number 1 of the Tampa Bay Buccaneers OTA practices. If you guys do enjoy these types of videos, leave your thoughts and opinions about them down in the comment section below. As always, we are getting this information from our friends at pewterreport.com and Greg Allman of The Athletic because I cannot attend these events in person yet. Again, hopefully something changes somewhere down the line, but for now, we have to gather our information from various sources. But let's go ahead and start off with this. The players who were not at OTA practices today, or OTA practice today, include guys like Tom Brady, Mike Evans. His family is expecting a child soon, so congratulations to Mike Evans and his family. Leonard Fournette, Donovan Smith, Shaq Barrett, Levante David, Devin White, Carlton Davis, and Bradley Pinion were all not present at this practice today. That isn't to say that, it's a bad thing. I don't think it's a bad thing if they are not at this, what is a voluntary practice to be at, but those are the guys who were not there. With that being said, let's go ahead and dive into some of the guys who stood out in this practice today. The first person worth mentioning is Dee Delaney stood out in practice today. He had an interception on a pass from quarterback Blaine Gabbert, and then he also tipped a pass from quarterback Kyle Trask. That resulted in an interception for the linebacker Fatukasi. He is a undrafted free agent linebacker, brother to one of the defensive linemen of the Jacksonville Jaguars, which is a pretty cool fun fact there. But Dee Delaney caused multiple turnovers in practice today. He got himself an interception. I guess I should say, yes, he caused multiple turnovers. That is the correct way to say it. He got himself an interception. He also forced an interception by tipping a pass up into the air. That's all good news for Dee Delaney, who continues this streak of having strong off seasons in these OTA practices, in these off-season workouts. Dee Delaney is always able to go out there and put together some really good work. He continued that again today in this practice. Good news for him for what is probably going to be a pretty heated battle for those last couple of cornerback spots. Dee Delaney, is going up against guys like Ross Cockrell, going up against guys like Zion McCollum, among others. So good for Dee Delaney to get some momentum for himself in this practice today. Also good on Mike Edwards and, sorry, not Mike Edwards, the young linebacker Fatukasi, who resulted in an interception as well. Good for his overall momentum. You then had Jamel Dean, who tipped a pass from Blaine Gabbert that resulted in an interception for Mike Edwards. There's Mike Edwards figuring into the equation again. Good to see some of the starting defensive backs get some good work in here. Tip drills, interceptions, that's all good stuff that you want to see. But that is the second interception from Blaine Gabbert that I've mentioned here in a row. And that's the next thing I want to talk about here is this. Kyle Trask and Blaine Gabbert split reps at the quarterback position today. Now, there is a lot of interesting quotes that have been coming out the past couple of days with Clyde Christensen saying that, hey, it's probably not going to be a competition between Blaine Gabbert and Kyle Trask. Blaine Gabbert's going to be the backup. Kyle Trask is going to be the developmental quarterback. And then very shortly after those quotes came out, Todd Bowles came out and said, no, it's probably going to be it's going to be a competition between the two. So you have a little bit of some conflicting quotes there between the Buccaneers head coach and the Buccaneers quarterbacks coach, but they did split the reps today for Trask and Gabbert, and both guys had their good moments, had their not so good moments. As I said, Blaine Gabbert threw 2 interceptions, Kyle Trask threw at least 1, and they did miss some throws here and there, but they did have some very, very good throws as well to receivers like Cam Brate, Scotty Miller, Vincent Smith, and Kalen Geiger Jr., who all made impressive catches throughout the day while they had some very good cornerbacks covering them, like Zion McCollum and Kyler McMichael as well. So overall, there was an up and down day for the quarterbacks there. Didn't hear too much about Ryan Griffin. Didn't hear too much about some of the other wide receivers that were out there. But Trask, Gabbert, they had some good moments. They had some not so good moments. Some of their wide receivers had some good moments thrown in there as well. All in all, it was a fine day for the quarterbacks and the receivers as a whole. Aaron Stinney got the starting reps today at the left guard position over Luke Gedeke. However, Todd Bowles did say that it is still an open competition at the position for the starting job, which is expected. Of course, the rookie would be the backup to the more veteran player. That's how the NFL has done things for so many stinking years, and they continued that trend today in practice. I expect that to be the trend moving forward, with Aaron Stinnie getting the starting snaps, Luke Gedeke at first being the backup, but getting more and more into the mix for that starting left guard job. That is expected. Continuing on with how the rookies did, Logan Hall was the starting defensive end next to Vita Vea and Will Golston in the base, or I guess I should say in the defense today, which is a great thing to see. That is also the expectation with the absence of Ndamukong Suh, who is not re-signed with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, still may not re-sign with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Logan Hall is your starting defensive end, along with Vita Vea and Will Golston. Vita Vea said that the guy's very athletic, very big is Logan Hall, and it's great to have a guy like that next to him. All in all, really, really good stuff to hear. Of course, Logan Hall is a friend of the channel, so it's very nice to see his progress and see how he is going to continue to grow and fit into this Buccaneers defense. Another player who was getting some opportunities in practice today was Rachaad White, who had a pretty nice run towards the end of practice, but was still behind guys like Keyshawn Vaughn and Giovanni Bernard. And speaking of those two, in the absence of Leonard Fournette, Keyshawn Vaughn was the starting running back today, and Giovanni Bernard his backup, which was pretty interesting to hear, in my opinion, because this entire offseason, we have not heard much about Keyshawn Vaughn. We've heard a lot about Leonard Fournette. We've heard a little bit about we've heard a little bit about Giovanni Bernard. We've heard a decent amount about Rachaad White again. Just had him recently here on the channel, but we haven't heard much about Keyshawn Vaughn. So that was interesting that the Buccaneers coaching staff had him at the starting running back position today. Maybe this means they still have a good amount of faith and trust in Keyshawn Vaughn. It may be worth monitoring moving forward. But last couple of notes I want to talk about here. Poor linebacker J.J. Russell from Memphis got destroyed by Ryan Jensen running downhill on a play. Hey, welcome to the NFL, young man. That is how it is going to be. That's a good learning experience for him. And then finally, Old Dominion linebacker Jordan Young looked good today as a pass rusher, winning on at least one pass rushing rep on the day. So, pretty good mix, I think, in this overall review. You had some veterans, some starters going out there and putting in some really good work. You had some undrafted players putting in some good work. You had some drafted rookies putting in some good work. All in all, I think it was a very good mix of good defensive play, a little bit of good offensive play in there as well. I think the defense won today in terms of practice. And yeah, you even heard a little bit about the quarterbacks, the wide receivers. I know it was kind of an up and down day, probably in some people's minds for Trask and Gabbert, but I think they did fine overall. And let's just wait and see which players continue to build momentum for themselves and which players don't continue to build momentum for themselves moving forward with the remainder of these OTA practices. What do you guys think about everything I talked about here in this video? Let me know your thoughts and opinions down in the comments section below. I would love to hear them. Thank you guys so much for watching. Hope y'all enjoyed, and I will see you all in the next video or the next live stream. But until then, and as always, guys, goodbye for now, and go Bucs.